Come on in, pull up a chair, and take a load off. Because the Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Or words along that effect. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, August 1st, 2022. This is live stream 812. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And we will normally take a first look at a tabletop game. Every once in a while, do a review. But for the most part, we take a first look, and tonight will be no different. Tonight, we are going to dive in and take a peek at Pathfinder Dark Archive from Paizo Inc. This is the new paranormal supplement to 2nd edition Pathfinder, and we are going to take a peek and see what's going on with this in just a bit. Because if you're not familiar with the stream, we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first, and then we dive into a first look. So it'll be probably 25, 30 minutes before we start taking a peek at Dark Archive. So if you're watching live, take your feet up, relax. Probably been a long day. Enjoy yourself. Treat yourself. Pamper yourself as you wait to see Dark Archive. If you are watching this 30 minutes or more after the stream ends, then you'll actually be able to jump ahead if you'd like. There will be timestamps. You can skip past the news if you want to just dive right on into the first look at Dark Archive. And depending on what device you happen to be using to watch this, those timestamps might be right there in the timeline of your video. You just click right on the screen and go to town. As I noticed, there's a little bug flying around here in the Duct Tape Studios. It's going to distract me now. So, just as a reminder, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. Also, it's a live stream, so that means that there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Also have to point out, you need to be a subscriber to the channel to take part in chat, and you must be a subscriber for at least 48 hours. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. So let's see who was first out the gate. Tonight was the Motor City Madman. Yes, the Madman is with us. Tessie Trekkie, Kevin R. Smith, and let's see, Flaming Huron is with us as well. So 2 of our 4 chat moderators are with us. Tessie Trekkie is pointing out that YouTube showed them compilations of how Wonkins gets murdered. There are a few collections out there. There's one. Unfortunately, the video quality is not great, but it is a lot of the Jim Henson commercials from like the 50s and into the early 60s. So, very cool. Kevin says they have Dark Archive, but they've only gotten a little bit into it. Well, we're going to take a peek a little bit later on in just a few moments. So, shall we jump on into the news? Because arriving this fall from Pencil First Games is delicious. And here's a taste. Spend the afternoon in your rooftop or backyard garden. Relax while enjoying this artful game of picking, paring, and planting fruits and vegetables. Grow your plants in whatever container you can. Wheelbarrows, boots, suitcases. Use anything you can to grow delicious eats. Will you create the most delicious garden? Over the course of a game of Delicious, players fill their respective gardens with fruits and vegetables by sketching them based on cards and tokens that are revealed in the community area. Players take their turns sketching simultaneously each round as these plants are revealed. Earn the most points by planting fruits and vegetables in your makeshift containers and planters. The game lasts 12 rounds. Every round, 2 vegetable cards are flipped, one from each deck, and a fruit/tool token is placed on each card. Each player then decides to use one or both cards and their tokens, given certain restrictions. When you use a card and token, you mark your garden and play sheets, trying to get different combinations of fruits and vegetables. The cards in the middle are common, but players place them in different containers within their garden setting and set up different combinations and scoring opportunities. Bonus tools and special powers mean that no two gardens are ever alike. After 12 rounds, the player with the highest score is the winner. Delicious is for 1 to 100 players. That'd be an awfully big gaming table. Ages 14 and up, plays in 20 to 30 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $27.99 when it arrives in October. Sounds kind of unique. It's a flip and write game. Some sketching. Sarah D has popped on in, says, hopefully this garden will last longer than the plants she has tried to grow in real life. You know, I got to be honest, I've never actually really tried to grow a garden. Some members of my family have, and it's been kind of a mixed bag. So, but no, I've never tried my green thumb outside of having some cacti when I lived in Arizona, but it's pretty easy taking care of those. On to the next news piece. Currently hitting stores is Eternal Palace. It is from Alley Cat Games. Here's the scoop. In Eternal Palace, you are a noble family who has pledged to help the Emperor rebuild his palace left derelict for centuries so that you may gain his favor. You must send your team to collect resources and rebuild monuments. You'll also honor the Emperor by painting a beautiful picture of his beloved gardens and palace, but others are trying to impress him too, and only one will have the honor of being chosen as the Emperor's favorite. Pick me, pick me! In the game, your team of workers is represented by dice, and by placing them on the game board, you contribute toward rebuilding the different parts of the Eternal Palace. Each location is reached based on dice rolls, but if others have gone to an otherwise inaccessible location, you may visit it too by paying fish. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for 2 fish today. I guess fish happen to be one of the resources in the game. Complete tasks first, or contribute more than your competitors to these monuments to earn tokens reflecting your overall effort. Recruit new workers to your team and use the painting pieces. I have delicious on the mind now. You receive as each location is unlocked to paint a record of your work layer by layer. Who will contribute the most to the reconstruction and gain the favor of the Emperor? Find out in this tense and highly interactive Euro game. Eternal Palace is for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 60 to 90 minutes, does carry an MSRP of $49.99. I gotta say, this has a very interesting look to it. The image that you're taking a peek at right now is Tabletopia, and I don't think it's really doing enough credit to the overall visual pop of Eternal Palace. And once again, this is out in stores right now. Sarah says that her grandmother had a room that they called the jungle in her home and a vegetable garden outside. But Sarah was, who wanted to be like her, was not able to with that green thumb. Manman says he's got a small herb garden. Comes in handy when he cooks. Yes. 13 herbs and spices, baby. All right, let's talk about some role-playing game news because a massive mega dungeon is available at substantial savings in a bundle of holding. Here's the deets on the Halls of Ardenvoul. Adventura. This all-new Ardenvoul bundle presents, you guessed it, the Halls of Ardenvoul, a vast mega dungeon from Expeditious Retreat Press for D&D, AD&D, and other tabletop fantasy role-playing games. Originally published in 5 volumes in 2020, this 1,100-page Ardenvoul is one of the largest mega dungeons published for old school gaming. How is it one of the largest? Wouldn't it be the largest? I don't know of another mega dungeon clocking in at 1,100 pages. I'm just saying. This contains more than 2,000 keyed encounter areas spread across 10 main levels and 15 sub-levels. The scale of the halls and the variety of experiences ensure no two groups encounter the halls in the same way. In fact, the same player group might run several different parties through the halls and never see a given area twice, even the entrances. For just $24.95, you'll get the DRM-free PDF of the Halls of Ardenvoul Complete, which has a retail price of $109. You also get the pay what you want maps of Ardenvoul and the virtual tabletop maps of Ardenvoul. I would assume that's a lot. A lot of maps. I'm just saying. These savings run through August 8th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to this Ardenvoul's offers pandemic-related charity. You guessed it, Direct Relief. So, I remember doing a news piece about this when it came out, and I was kind of blown away at just the page count alone. It is insane. And right now you can get it for effectively $25. So that is a smoking deal. It is normally $109 over on Drive-Thru RPG. And I got to say, out of that much content, there has got to be something that you can utilize in your games. Absolutely has to be something there. And I got to say, maps look pretty cool. Look pretty sweet. Moving right along. Arriving right now in PDF from Goodman Games is the free RPG Day Dungeon Crawl Classics tale, Danger in the Air. Here's what I know. Danger in the Air is a zero-level funnel for the Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game. During the course of this adventure, a group of modest villagers discover a strange creature floating over their home, an immense winged jellyfish-like monster with a structure lodged inside its transparent bell. Treasure is leaking, I swear that's what it says, leaking from the damaged construction, and the creature itself appears dead. Will the bravest, or most foolish, of the villagers enter the beast to see what else lurks in the curious building situated within the great floating corpse? Danger in the Air is intended for groups of 4 to 6 players, with each player controlling 3 or 4 zero-level PCs. Many will die during the adventure, but those who survive will find themselves ready to face further adventures as stalwart first-level characters. The adventure may also be suitable for first-level characters, but the judge might wish to increase the difficulty of some of the encounters to better challenge the more robust and gifted player characters. This is written by Michael Curtis as well, I should point out, who does good work, does some really good Dungeon Crawl Classic stuff. This 18-page PDF of Danger in the Air is available over at Drive-Thru RPG for $6.99. That's the bummer part of this. So here's the problem I've got. And you know I like Goodman Games. I share news pieces all the time. I have reached out. I have tried to review stuff for them. And they're like, we don't do that. That's fine. Whatever. I still share news pieces. But this was available for free RPG day. And yes, I get it. You had to go to your friendly local game store and decide to choose this because a lot of people who don't go to like free comic book day or free RPG day don't realize most of these places, you don't get everything. You get to pick 1 or 2 and that's it. So I understand that. But as a PDF, you're going to charge $7 for the PDF of a free physical adventure that was given out. I don't know. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was, $1.99, $2.99. Okay. All right. That's fine. But $6.99? It's probably a good adventure too, like I said. It's written by Michael Curtis. All right. Final news piece, now available in print and PDF, is the Traveler Highguard Update 2022 from Mongoose Publishing. Here's what I know. Highguard Update 2022 is a major expansion to the Traveler role-playing game with rules for designing, building, and operating spacecraft found throughout the galaxy. From small and nimble fighter craft to the adventure-class ships that travelers fly, from gargantuan mega freighters to military capital ships, this book provides everything the aspiring naval architect needs to populate their universe with ships that ply the space lanes. This book also provides rules for designing space stations and starports, customizing ships, and exotic technologies found in popular science fiction novels and movies that can be incorporated into your universe. There are also advanced rules for sensors, detailed descriptions of starship crew roles, how to conduct violent boarding actions, and detailed guidelines for battles between fighter squadrons and enormous fleet battles. Finally, Highguard Update 2022 presents dozens of ship designs for the chartered space universe, including small craft and fighters, traders, gunboats, scout ships, and battleships, ranging from lethal destroyers to colossal battleships, carriers, and dreadnoughts. The revised design system provides a new approach to armor and armaments, making space combat scalable for anything from small skirmishes to devastating clashes, clashes between dozens or even hundreds of warships. This 288-page hardcover is available for $59.99. I think that is a pre-order. I'm not positive, but I do think it is a pre-order. Or you can grab the PDF right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $30. Yes, Mongoose has been investing some energy into Traveler and doing some updates. We had the core rule update for this year, which, if I remember right, came out like in December. So came out in like 2021, but it was 2022 on the cover. And then we've got High Guard. We also had the Mercenary. I think wasn't it a box set that came out as well? So lots going on. Plenty of Traveler adventures have been hitting also. So very cool. The fine folks over at Mongoose actually sent me a message. I think it was today on Twitter, inviting me to their Discord channel. And I got to be honest, I don't really mess with Discord. So it's like, I guess, I don't know. Viber Dave is with us. Mr. Eddie T is also with us in chat as well. So Tessie Trekkie points out that they picked up some goodies for free role-playing game day, free RPG day. I got to be honest, I never have an opportunity to hit it. I have yet to ever go to a free RPG day. I've gone to a couple free comic book days, which left a bit to be desired, but never gone to free RPG day. And I'm always sharing news about what's coming. So I don't know. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Pretty quick zip through that. And I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG or any of the other sites like DM's Guild or Wargame Vault or Storyteller's Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first, click on one of our banner ads, and that way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you feel thegaminggang.com is a valuable resource, hell, if you like what we do, you can always go to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And big thank you to the Madman for his recent donation. Thank you very kindly. He's always popping in, tossing a few bucks this way. So it is always appreciated. Thank you. So that's it for the news. Gen Con's coming up. My favorite convention. Things have been crazy, super busy around here. My dad's doing well, in case anybody's curious out there. He has been, he's had a physical therapist come in a couple of times a week. He's had a nurse come in a couple of times. He's doing really well. Now I've been running him to different appointments now with different doctors. And it's like, geez, do they have to be like, can't they put him in one day? Does it have to be, okay, Monday, then Tuesday, had one on Friday? It's like, geez. That's okay. Anyway, so he's getting around a lot better. So he's moving along very nicely. So that is very cool. So getting ready to go to Gen Con. So I am excited about that. If you happen to be going to Gen Con and you see me, as long as I'm not interviewing somebody, yes, that has happened before. I was interviewing somebody and I was interrupted by someone wanted to say hello. It's kind of like, well, thank you so much for saying hello, but you couldn't wait a couple of minutes. It's like, anyway. So looking forward to it. I've got some interviews lined up. Some with Paizo, as a matter of fact. Might actually be talking to Eric Mona once again. I've interviewed him a couple of times over the years. He's always nice. So Chris Spivey, going to interview him. Should be talking to the folks over at Chaosium. In fact, possibly even Michael O'Brien, who's over in Australia, is coming in for Gen Con this year. I reached out to Goodman Games, but once again, also reached out to Troll Lord Games. I don't know if they're exhibiting there or not. So I think it was Chuck. I think it's Cumbro. Is his last name or Cumbo? I think it's Cumbro. Had reached out and said, hey, we should talk at Gen Con, but I didn't see Troll Lord there. So I'm actually going to meet with, I want to say Lucky Duck Games for the first time. So should be, by the end of it all, 15 interviews or so, which is usually kind of what I shoot for at Gen Con. And of course, my best friend Elliot and his son Brian are going to be there. They're not getting there until Thursday night. I'm going to get there Wednesday so that I can pick up my pass. And I got a bunch of stuff I'm dropping off at the auction. So, going to do that. Viper Dave points out, glad that my dad's doing fine. Said the last show they watched, I was telling the story about taking him to the hospital. Yeah, that was a while back. Yeah, my dad spent 21 days in the hospital. Man says he's happy to hear about my dad as well. And also planning to attend Dragon Con next year, which I believe the Madman hits Dragon Con fairly regularly whenever we don't have a pandemic. Yes. So I'm looking forward to it. Gonna have a good time. I always have a good time. Hopefully I get to kick back with a couple of adult beverages with Stephen Bonacore and crew. That's always pretty fun. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. All right. And okay, so I see all these people saying, hi, Hunter, but I don't see Hunter in chat. Maybe you guys are psychic or something. I don't know. So Madman points out that they have a friend who lives outside Atlanta, so they get a free place to stay for Dragon Con. I've known some people who go to Dragon Con. I've always heard that it's more like cosplay than anything else, but I don't know. I have no idea. Like I said, I've never been there. I was approved for press passes twice and didn't go. So I didn't apply again because I'm like, well, they said yes twice and I never showed up. So I don't know. Do want to point out all 4 of our chat moderators are currently hanging out. So behave. Right. So as I mentioned, we're going to be diving on into Dark Archive for Pathfinder 2nd Edition in just a couple of moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
No need for you to use a magic carpet to get refreshment. Close by, you'll always find the friendly red sign and delicious, ice-cold Coca-Cola.
Grandma, it's Little Red Riding Hood with your Wilkins coffee.
I'm the bad wolf and I just ate your grandma.
We'll have some Wilkins to wash her down.
Wilkins lives! Yep, Tessie Trekkie was thinking Wilkins was a goner. Not tonight. Not tonight. Boris has joined us in chat. Welcome aboard. So, okay, so that was kind of funny. People were like, oh, yeah, Jeff thinks Hunter is just a figment of like the madman and Flaming Heron's imagination. So here's what happened. So I see where Hunter says hello, but that didn't pop up right away. It's like, it actually popped up, at least in my like chat record, after people were saying hello. I was like, what the? Kind of strange. Alrighty, so tonight I'm going to take a first look at Pathfinder Dark Archive from Paizo Inc. This 224-page hardcover is available right now for an MSRP of $54.99. Yikes! Ouch! Or you can grab just the PDF alone for $14.99. So this is another of those core books that Paizo is offering at a pretty deep discount in PDF. So, and yes, I understand we had already heard that we were going to see some pricing increases from various different role-playing game companies, including Paizo. So Kevin says, hey, if it makes me feel any better, he still doesn't see Hunter saying hello either. So there's some discussion of Wilkins eating grandma. At least it's not on screen, right? Not like, you know, we see him get shot. Stuff like that. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Dark Archive. So, been playing around with the camera. Once again, this is the new Panasonic GH5 Mark II that we're playing around with. So, hopefully, the image is relatively bright enough. It looks a little bit different on my screen than it does looking right at it, but not by much. So also, hopefully, I've been playing around so that the text looks clearer and less like digitized looking. So we'll see if I've pulled that off. All right. So a couple of things I do want to mention before we jump on in. First off, the fine folks over at Paizo Inc. were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And these days, that's important you know that. I'm also going to stay picture in picture up here. So that means as we take a peek through, I'll be cutting off a little bit of the upper portion of the book. We're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for what's in this book, because as far as I understand, I have not cracked this open yet. In fact, I haven't even read the back of the book yet. I believe there are a lot of player character options in here. I think there's also a couple of adventures. So should point out there might be some spoilers popping up as well. So let's take a look at the back. Enter the paranormal. From the fringes, the unknown beckons, and the 8 lost files of the Dark Archive arm you to explore, understand, and confront it. Unleash the untold power of your mind as the new psychic class, or leverage supernatural secrets and mystic implements as the Thermitage. I never pronounce that right. Never. As you pore over each case file, you'll find paranormal player options like divine magic wielded by secret cults, eldritch pacts with powerful entities, and archetypes to skip through time. If you're a GM, you'll find options to turn your creatures into rumored cryptids, new rules for unexplained powers and mental battles, and more. Each file concludes, oh, here we go, with a short adventure to immerse players in the unknown, spanning every corner of the Age of Lost Omens campaign setting. So Kevin points out, yes, it's got several short adventures. So let's jump on in. So let's see. So we've got stolen case files. So we've got cryptids, secret societies, deviant abilities, mirrors and imposters, cults, curses and pacts, temporal anomalies, and mindscapes. And yes, it looks like we've got a short adventure for each one of those. Very nice. Very cool. All right, so if you have an opportunity, let me know how the text looks on your screen. So Kevin says thaumaturge is how they've always pronounced it. Yeah, that's kind of like, yeah. But Kevin says they're not sure that's correct. I don't know. I say it all the time. You know me. I treat English as if it were my second language as opposed to first. All right, so we get a breakdown of a bit of an intro. So it looks like we've got our 2 new classes being represented here. The Archivist Training Manual. So we have the Psychic, the Thalian, the Thermitage, and Mios. Oh, these are the characters. So these are the classes. Those are the characters. So we get classes and multi-class archetypes. So we get some features of the Psychic. Yeah. So there we have the Psychic. The mind can perceive truths hidden to fine-tuned instruments, house more secrets than any tome, and move objects and hearts more deftly than any lever. By delving into both the conscious and subconscious aspects of your inner self, you have awoken to the might of psychic magic, allowing you to cast spells not through incantations or gestures, but the power of your will alone. All right, so kind of giving you a breakdown on what to expect from this character class during combat, during social encounters, exploring, downtime. Then we get a breakdown, different feats. I was going to say, I'm going to take a guess. We'll probably have some new spells. So here's our feats. So we have some cantrips. It's like a lot of cantrips. All right. Quite a good number of pages devoted to the class. I got to say, that's one of the things that I've noticed more with Paizo and Pathfinder as opposed to Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast. We tend to get far more detail from Paizo than we do Wizards. I mean, we've seen some recent releases for D&D where it's like, oh, we've got a brand new culture. We got a brand new race. And it takes up like half the page and that's it. It's like 4 paragraphs. And it's like, really? That's all the info? Same thing with like archetypes and that. It'll be like a page. Granted, these are classes, not archetypes. So they're going to go into a bit more depth. The world is full of the unexplainable, ancient magic, dead gods, and even stranger things. Ha! Stranger Things! Do! On Netflix. In response, you've scavenged the best parts of every magical tradition and built up a collection of esoterica. A broken holy relic here, a sprig of mistletoe there, that you can use to best any creature by exploiting their weaknesses and vulnerabilities. The mystic implement you carry is both badge and weapon, its symbolic weight helping you bargain with and subdue the supernatural. Madman says that they really like the layout of this book. Pathfinder for Savage Worlds is very similar in layout. So I got to say, from what I can tell, and what I don't see a full screen of this. I just get a little screen on my screen that I'm looking at. It looks like the text and everything is pretty sharp. So hopefully that is coming through in the stream as well. I've actually also bumped up the bit rate just a little bit on the stream tonight, just to see if we can get a little bit more detail. Kevin points out that Paizo uses a pretty similar layout for all of their second edition Pathfinder books. Yeah, they are this is pretty typical of what we see. No Linquister has joined us in chat, pointing out they played first edition occultist class and was pretty cool. New guy looks like a walking magic shop. Yeah, I'll point out I'm not too keen on this armor. That looks kind of goofy. Let's be honest here. That looks pretty silly. All right, so taking a look at the various different feats, different implements. Get a sample character here. So we have the Protector, we've got the Trickster. And here we have the archetypes for multi-class characters. And then we get into our first, what is this, like stolen case? Eyes in the Forest, Tracks in the Mud on cryptids and other strange creatures. Just skipping on through here. So what are we looking at here? Oh, Aftermath Feats. Stories abound of battle-scarred hero bathed in the blood of the fearsome dragon, awakening to a strange new power. The conflict changes their very being, leaving an unforgettable reminder that awakens greater power and a unique kind of heroism. Yes. Kevin says, looks like the psychic might be the better of the two classes, but hasn't really read into it much. So adjustments to make things into cryptids. So we have a mutant unicorn. It's pretty wild. Cryptid gear. A chaos collar. Chimera thread. Okay, so here we have the Beast of Birchfrost. So, short adventure featuring, obviously enough, a cryptid. It looks like we've got 8 pages. Maybe a little more than that. 10? Web of connections, secret societies, underground organizations, those who whisper. So, discussion, the nature of conspiracy. We've got some occult skill feats, automatic writing, folk dowsing. So one thing to point out is that this is not an occult book. And I think it's probably important to kind of point that out. It's not a horror supplement. I guarantee that's on the horizon. Just like in first edition, we had like a paranormal occult kind of book, and then we had like a horror book. So this is tackling the paranormal, not necessarily horror. 245 Trioxin is with us, pointing out that Paizo is putting Wizards of the Coast to shame. You said it. I didn't say that. I might be thinking that, but I didn't say it. So Kevin says, well, it's only occult in the sense that it deals with occult magic. So we've got some secret society gear. Siblings coin, the traitor's ring, false bottomed mug. And hide some stuff in there. And then our adventure is Shaking the Helping Hand. Looks like it takes place in a theater. I would say the artwork throughout is pretty solid. Outside of that goofy character design, in my opinion, it's just my opinion. Spontaneous ignition of supernatural might. Oh, so like spontaneous combustion on so-called deviant abilities. Yeah, maybe it is, and other anomalous powers. So obviously, this is a supplement that players and game masters can take what they will from. So it looks like this is very modular in nature. So if you want to have cryptids in your adventures, by all means, you can utilize the rules and the gear. And if you don't, just leave it behind. So here we've got different feats. What are these feats for? Oh, these are the deviant abilities. Okay. Quirks. No two deviant abilities are exactly alike, and even when two characters gain the same ability in the same event, individual factors like age, ancestry, and personality alter how their abilities manifest. Every deviant ability has one or two quirks. Determine when the ability is gained. If playing with background deviant abilities, collaborate with your player to decide the quirk, maybe even suggesting one. If playing with campaign deviant abilities, simply pick quirks that fit the story or roll randomly. And we got some deviant spells. Noel Inquisitor points out that Dark Archive has similar content to Occult Adventures. Can't wait to see what Paizo does for second edition Pathfinder in the equivalent of horror adventures. I got to point out, Occult Adventures is the only first edition Pathfinder release I actually have. That is it. That is all I've ever gotten. And I actually got that from Paizo at Gen Con years ago. And it was sort of like, I got nothing to reference this with, man. It's like, oh, here. It's our latest. Here, it's our, I think it was a Gen Con release. I was like, okay. So our adventure is a song of making and unmaking. So one thing I will point out I am not a huge fan of is this kind of handwritten sort of font. Pretty small font. So it's not all that easy to make out. So here we've got the adventure itself. We'll just skip on through that. And we have Doors into the Echoing Pale on the nature of reflections, mirrors, and what lies beyond. So, reflection. So you could, I guess it's a heritage. That's pretty wild. So I'm actually, my character is actually a reflection of someone else. Interesting. So we have some feats for that. Then our adventure is Lady of the Harvest. Looks like that's taking place in a home or an estate of some sort. And then after each of the adventures, I notice we have like an incident. It's like, so here we have Village of the Lost, and it's almost like these are journal entries. Here we have the Criminal Hammer, but it seems like each of these case files conclude with this after the adventure. Kevin points out, yeah, script fonts aren't very good for extended paragraphs. Most of them are designed more as decorative fonts for headings or for handouts. And that kind of bothers me sometimes. Has nothing to do with Paizo. But I have seen some adventures as of late where they'll have the handwritten or the font that looks like it's handwritten or scribbled or whatever handout, but then they don't reproduce it in the adventure telling you, what does this say? So that used to be something like Chaosium would do all the time. Be like, okay, well, this is what this handout says, as opposed to making you have to try to, decipher it yourself. All right. So taking a look through this. So we have another archetype, the living vessel. A lot of goodies in here. We have cult rituals. And then we've got another adventure. Looks like it might take place in a ruined temple of some sort. A chain of consequences to bind the soul. Regarding curses, pacts, and then the consequences of ill-thought bargains. Yes, if anybody watches What We Do in the Shadows, this season with that genie or Jinn is pretty funny. It's like, yep, that's how genies work. All right. Speaking of shows on TV, I started watching Paper Girls, which, if you remember, when I was at Comic-Con, I was slated to be part of the round table in the press room, and then they wouldn't let me shoot any video. So I was like, yeah, see ya. I was like, bye. So I started watching it. I've watched the first 4 episodes, and it's all right. But the thing I don't care for is it's supposed to start off in like 1988, and it's these like 12-year-old girls, and every other word out of their mouth is an F-bomb. And it's like, you know what? The only people who think 12-year-old kids swore like that are people who weren't around in 1988. Because there is no way. I'm not saying that 12-year-old kids didn't swear, but not like these kids put truckers to shame. It's like, geez, where did you kids grow up? Deadwood? All right, so we're looking at a new archetype here as well, with the Curse Maelstrom. Little nesting dolls. And then here's our incidents again. And it's kind of interesting because each of these just kind of introduces something. We've had items. This is a background. These are a couple of feats. 245 Trioxin says, this looks so good, I might buy it. As I pointed out, if you tuned in a little bit late, the physical book is $54.99, but you can get the PDF for $14.99 from Paizo. And this is another one of those core books that Paizo offers at just a fraction of the physical price. Because usually, like, let's say for an adventure, like let's say a chapter of a Pathfinder adventure path, physically, it's usually like $24.99. Now, it's possible they're going up, but $24.99, and then the PDF is $17.99. Here, you're looking at almost, well, a little more than a quarter of the MSRP for the PDF. Here we have Twists in the Endless River, Time Loops, Causal Paradoxes, and Other Temporal Anomalies. So we get some temporal spells. Here we go. Finally get an appearance from one of the other Pathfinder characters here. So, Noel Inquisitor says maybe the series was written by an ex-sailor. I think it's Brian Michael Bendis, if I remember correctly. So it's actually based on a comic. So we have our Time Mage. Oh, it's the Doctor. And then we have an Oracle Mystery. So this is basically time. Oh, look, a UFO. That's what it looks like. Oh, look, it's the Phoenix Lights. Bandman says they'll have to check the show out to see if they put sailors to shame. Somehow, I don't think so. I don't think so either, but I think most sailors would probably crack those kids. Be like, watch your mouth. So we have a creature, the Morakin. I think this is the adventure, right? Yep, Tomorrow's Feast, which takes place on a ship. Lands of Thought and Imagination, Mindscapes, Mental Realms, and the World of Dreams. So everybody ready for, there we go. Thank you, Brian K. Vaughan. Thank you, 245 Trioxin. Yeah, as soon as I said Brian Michael Bendis, I'm like, no, that's not right. Brian K. Vaughan, I used to read a lot of his stuff. In fact, if I remember correctly, he did Dos Ex Machina, which was a Vertigo book, which was actually very interesting. So we got Sandman coming this month. I am really looking forward to that. Audible has done a couple of volumes of audio. They're they're not audio books. They're more performances, but they're very cool because they are spot on to the like first, what, like 15 issues of Sandman, one of my favorite comic books of all time. So we have the Mindsmith archetype. Then we have the Last Dream as our adventure. Looks like it's taking place in a dreamscape of some sort. There's quite a bit to this, I'll tell you that much. I like the fact that we've got these short adventures in each of these case files. I like that. Okay, so we've got a spell list with arcane spells, divine spells, occult spells, primal spells, glossary and index, and open game license. Nolan Quizzer. Oh, here we go. Book of the Dead. We actually have our review of Book of the Dead for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, which went up this past weekend. So Sammy, not to be confused with Samantha, Sammy reviewed it and shares her thoughts about that as well. Of course, we will have a review of Dark Archive in the very near future. No, Linquisitor says that they stopped buying 2nd edition Pathfinder because they're still playing 1st edition Pathfinder. And the adventure paths are so long, might return to 2nd edition in the future. Yeah, there are some 3-chapter adventure paths, some 6. So I always tell people all the time that make sure, at least in my opinion, if you're going to run one of the adventure paths, make sure it's all out. Don't start running it with only like 2 of 6 parts out, because for some strange reason, Paizo likes to throw like really important background information about the big bad, like in the last chapter. And you might be using completely different motivations than that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, I didn't see that coming. So, all right. Pathfinder Dark Archive. It is out in stores right now. Carries an MSRP of $54.99. Or grab the PDF over at Paizo.com. It's only $14.99. So, pretty smoking deal as far as the PDF. All righty then. So, no show tomorrow. Obviously, no show on Wednesday. I will be in Indianapolis prepping for Gen Con. And I'm going to have fun. I am going to have a really good time. I got to be honest, this is like the first time in 3 years I'm not flying solo for most of the time. So last year, Elliot was going to go and then couldn't make it. And year prior, it was canceled. Year before that, Elliot was going to go, didn't make it. When I get back, this isn't necessarily a role-playing game product, but it is the Atlas of Fantastic Worlds. And this is a French book. And the publisher really wanted me to share a peek at this with you. And just for a second, we're going to switch back to the other camera because I am going to give you a peek at. Now we'll take a deeper dive. So as you can see, this is actually a larger book than Dark Archive, but this is really nicely presented. And some of it's in English, some of it is in French. It's got a fold out map here. And it's all these different worlds. So we have Tower World, We have Orda Octa. So we're going to take a peek at this when I get back from Gen Con. So that will be on the horizon as well. But very impressed with this. Yes, I actually cracked it open because I was taking a peek. Because I was like, I don't know. Am I going to do a first look video? I don't know. And I was like, this looks pretty cool. I think I will. So Mr. Eddie T is like, have fun at Gen Con. Yes, I will. So the Madman says the main reason they don't attend Gen Con anymore is because none of their gaming friends, none of his, I should say, gaming friends, would attend, which is strange because their kids are all older now. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I know, was it 4 years ago? Well, last time Elliot went with, we were heading down there and it was like, are we getting too old for this? Yeah, should this be our last year? And I think we were there 10 minutes and we were like, no, there's a lot of people here way older than we are. So we're like, not feeling old at all. All right. So that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central, normally, here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my recent review of Dungeons & Dragons Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel from Wizards of the Coast. And, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Those of you who watch live, thank you very much. Always appreciate that. If you took part in chat, that's bonus experience points right there for you. Sweet. Of course, I know a lot of people out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching these videos live or on Memorex. Much appreciated. Tip of the cap. Thank you very kindly for taking time out of your busy life to watch this goofball pontificate. Really means a lot. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of the week. I know it's kind of odd to say that on a Monday show. Enjoy the rest of the week. I should be back next Monday, knock on wood. I don't think there should be any issue getting a show up even if next week, if I'm pressed for time or something, maybe we don't do the news or something on Monday. But I think everything should be fine. We should have a regular show on Monday. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. If you happen to be going to Gen Con and see me, say hello. I don't bite, usually. So, and of course, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.